That's it. We did it. Let's go. Alright. Whew. Wow, what a ride. Alright, first things first. The bottom center of the screen says that we've beaten 58 games in 2024. And 505 since we started doing this in 2020. All lies. We've now beaten 59 games in 2024 and 506 since we started doing this. Let's go. Alright, I'm going to turn this down just a smidge, and we're going to talk about the ups and downs of Still Wakes the Deep. So, I think in order to assess this accurately, we have to talk about what it is. This is a... I wouldn't call it a walking sim, but it does not have really... I wouldn't call anything in it puzzles. It's a lot of traversal. Sometimes you have to flip switches and stuff, but it's not puzzles. No mini games, nothing like that. It's just traversal, a lot of ledge grabbing, a lot of swimming, a lot of running, a lot of climbing. It's pretty much just that. Like if you think about like Uncharted climbing mechanics, it's kind of similar to that, but in first person. And it's like a lot of that. That's like most of what the game is. You're running, you're hiding, you're not fighting. There's no combat, there's no inventory, there's no nothing. No, not even any puzzles. So normally when I would say something like that, I would say, oh, well, you're talking about a walking sim then. I wouldn't call this a walking sim because there's enough traversal and there is enough of a challenge with the traversal because you can slip off ledges and you have to hit buttons. There's like QTEs. That it's not really, there's not a ton of QTEs in walking sims, right? So I would not call it a walking sim. I would say that it is a horror exploration game. It is definitely a horror game. It is horrifying. It is a scary game. I would say that it is definitely, it is full on horror. And I think that's the first thing that's really stands out about this game is that it is genuinely scary. There is a horrifying threat, and it's an interesting and very, I wouldn't call it a totally unique idea because it's definitely draws from a lot of horror movies that I've seen, but it is definitely interesting. And it's definitely got its own take. It tweaks the formula a little bit. And the fact that the whole oil rig thing is terrifying. It really is. So I think that's a great idea. That's just the premise for this game is amazing. That the enemy type and the location is a great recipe. So that was well done. I thought the story within that worked really well too. The person that you play as, the conflicts that they're having in their personal life, and then balancing that with all of the conflicts that are happening on the oil rig and all of the people that you meet through there. Excellent. The voice acting in this game is real good. It's not very often, even in a good horror game, where the voice acting really does a great job of playing fear and panic. And this game does an excellent job of that. The voice acting is top tier. It is scary. It is scarier when you can tell that the people that that are talking are scared. That is clutch and underrated. So that they did a great job with the voice acting, and the writing plays into that too. But honestly, the writing is pretty bare bones. It's mostly just a bunch of people being scared the whole game, you know. So I would really I would say that it really lies on with the acting itself rather than the writing. The writing's fine, but if you can't get people to play scared with that writing, it's worthless in a game like this. And they did a great job with that. I did have a couple of issues. There were some bugs, a couple of real dumb ones. There were a couple of times where you'd get into a corner and it would do this thing where you were doing a falling animation, even though you were standing on solid ground, and he would go, whoa, 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 fuck, oh no. That happened two or three times. There was one time that I got stuck in the environment and had to reload from a checkpoint. Pretty standard stuff these days, unfortunately, for brand new playing games at launch, but it did happen one time where I had to completely restart from checkpoint. I lost a little progress, whatever. And then there was one bug toward the end that was really horrible during a very important scene, very heavy scene. The person I'm talking to, their hair just kept disappearing. Took me out of the scene entirely. So that was unfortunate. It wasn't horrible. I would give it a C+ on the bugs. It's pretty standard to see bugs like that in a brand new game these days, again, unfortunately, but that's just the reality of the world we live in now. The only other thing that comes to mind as far as another positive, the waypoint system in this game is excellent. You have an option to turn it on or off. Don't turn it off. Keep it on. You are going to get lost in this game if you don't have a the waypoint system. It's just tells you where to go. Just puts a dot on the screen, whatever direction you need to head. And it's extremely important because in this game you do a lot of backtracking. You're in a lot of the same areas over and over again. And it would be, and I even got turned around even with the waypoint system a couple of times. Now, there was a bug with the waypoint system where it wouldn't update. And so it would like tell me I need to go behind me when that was not true. That happened 3 different times, I think. But when the waypoint system is working, it is clutch. The level design didn't bother me that much, and it made sense within the context of the story. But beyond that, it didn't bother me that much because the waypoint system was so good. The traversal in this game is a little wonky. The ledge grabbing is mostly fine, but it works a little differently than any game I've played before. If you have to climb up, if you want to engage with the ladder and then climb up it, you have to hit the right trigger and then hold it the whole time you're climbing up. Or if you don't, you'll just fall off the ladder. That took a little getting used to, and I don't think I loved it. It wasn't so. There were a couple times when it was kind of finicky grabbing a ledge or whatever. But swimming, you have to swim a bunch in this game, and it's not great. The way that the sprinting mechanic, whether you're running or swimming, you can barely even tell that you're sprinting. And so it's a toggle thing. And so I would toggle it on and off and on and off. Like, am I running or not? And then I would die because something was chasing me, or I would drown because I ran out of air, So the sprinting they need to either speed it up or make it more clear somehow through the motion graphics or something that you are sprinting, because it was hard to tell. And then just the swimming mechanic, it was very hard to tell which way was up. I drowned a lot of times, probably just swimming into a bottom corner because it's very dark. And so I didn't love the swimming. But all in all, though, I did really enjoy this game. Now, as far as where it's going to rank, it's not going to rank as super high because it doesn't have all the video gamey stuff that I like. There's no RPG mechanics. There's no mini games. There's no puzzles. There's no, inventory, resource management, none of that stuff. It's pretty bare bones when it comes to all that stuff. So, it's more almost like a horror movie. And it's not that much longer than one. It took me, I think, 4 hours. No, not even quite to beat it. It's pretty bare bones. I think of games like, when I think of where I'm going to rank a game like this, I think of games like Soma. It has a lot of the same stuff. 1.71% of people have gotten this far. I think of games like Soma, although Soma had more puzzles, it had more video gamey stuff in it. Without sprinting for more than 10 total minutes, really? Because I didn't know how. So I think of games like I think it's definitely better than a game like Fort Solace, which was more of a walking sim type game that came out last year that had some ledge grabbing. It was more of a kind of a horror psychological thriller, but the story wasn't nearly as good as this. It wasn't as scary. It wasn't scary at all. But I wouldn't say this is as good as something like The Quarry, or I'm just trying to think of horror games that I really like. I don't think Soma was a lot more intellectually interesting than this is. This is more of just like straight up cosmic, maybe not cosmic, but straight up horror kind of. I guess it's more sci-fi than cosmic horror. But I did really enjoy it. I don't know where I'm going to rank it yet. It's not my favorite horror game because, again, it's not crunchy enough for me, you know. Resident Evil games rank better than this because there's so much resource management and, you know, exploration, stuff like that. This is very linear and very bare bones when it comes to all the video gamey stuff. But I did really enjoy it. I really did. And it was certainly worth the money since it was on Game Pass. All right, that's it. Last order of business. Still Wakes the Deep. It has been fun. Thank you for allowing us to enjoy you. But we are now going to delete you from our console and never play you again. Bye. Thank you. Much appreciated.